All right, so today on the show, we have a wonderful, crazy talented hip hop artist from Nashville. He's a writer, producer, and by far my favorite Instagram story motivational speaker. We've got Q Parks on the Yadee Yadah Podcast. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man.
I appreciate it. This is my first kind of like Zoom interview. I've only done like in-person audio stuff, and I'm
hmm
stoked that you're the first.
Hey, man, that's a blessing. I'm thankful for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. I want to talk about those Instagram stories because I feel like you're always the like battery for my day. You like juice me up in the morning.
Oh yeah, man. You know, even with the Instagram stories of the motivation, majority of the time, even though I was always told, put how you feel out there,
Yeah.
and so I started with the motivation Insta stories and everything, just to simply, to look back and give myself like, it's crazy how I'll go back and listen to my stories and I'm like, wow, I really said some great things that really spoke to me. So even when I'm speaking on my Instagram stories, it's it's honestly for me, but I put that out there because someone out there may need that extra motivation throughout the day,
No
and I
doubt.
love to do them. I love to do them through the morning. Definitely after my run,
Yeah.
I'm going on my daily run and everything, just to give people, my followers, my fans, just anybody that needs some inspiration throughout the morning. And that's, I feel if I jumpstart that and then, it catches a wave, I feel that people obviously, what I'm saying, too, understand that, what we go through on a daily basis, you never know how powerful your voice or your words can be of encouragement to other people, man. So that's really how the Insta stories came about.
Big time. I think especially now when people need that positive message, just to like a reminder to, keep your head up during these weird ass times. I think that's huge. And it feels like
Exactly.
listening through your new EP, Tree of Shades, positivity is a pretty common theme in your music. And I just wanted to ask if that was deliberate, if that's something that like you intentionally channel when you're writing, or if it's just like an aspect of who you are as a person and therefore is reflected in your music.
That's just overall. I like overall. That's just my spirit,
Yeah,
honestly. And with the Tree of Shades project, that was my intention to actually create something positive, and it's just
cool.
so happened it's um actually dropping the project, and then around the time when we're in a pandemic, I wrote the project like 2 years ago.
Yo, what a
So
time.
yeah, what a time. And I felt that, it was a perfect time to release it on my birthday with everything that's going on. At least, my intent was to hopefully create a body of work that, people can listen to just honestly, honestly take from like motivation, get motivation from, to actually start their day, workout, whatever it is. If you need some motivation, I wanted Tree of Shades to resemble that.
Totally. When did
And
that process start, or how did it look like when it was first starting? I know my introduction to your music was seeing you perform with guys like Messiah and just like jumping up on stage and giving this like crazy energetic performance. Um,
yeah.
I'm wondering if that was around that time when you first started recording and writing this project.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, it was actually. And on the Tree of Shades too, Messiah actually co-produced a few of those records with
Cool.
me. But that was definitely right around the time when I started actually officially writing the project.
Yeah. Yeah. What did that
Yeah.
process look like? I know it probably took around 2 years to come to full fruition. But in terms of writing and recording, who was a part of that and what did it look like?
um well, obviously Messiah was a part of it.
Hmm.
I also have a guy on the it's a single on the actual project that's called Holding On. Pete, actually, that's the only record that I didn't have any hands on with the
Sure.
producing. But for the project as a whole, the Tree of Shades project came about. It was around a really bad time. I was actually in a music group, honestly, and we were Creative Kings. So around that process, I was transitioning to be a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time, I needed something. I was encouraging myself to write that project. And overall, Tree of Shades is we go through these different phases in life, right?
Yeah.
And the phases that we go in, we can't control. But however, this project to me, actually creating it and going through the entire process, and the people that I worked with, and just people that was listening to the actual project before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I thank them so much, because some of those songs on there I almost trashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally almost trashed, but just to listen to it and actually, see the final product of it and see the reach that the EP as a whole had, it really means a lot to me, because all I ever wanted was to show people in that project that, it's okay. We go through different phases in life, but the Tree of Shades came about. The color in the tree is just symbolizing different phases that, that I go through
Yeah.
on a personal level. You're just going through it overall, like your what am I trying to say? Your the vibe changes is different. All of the songs,
Yeah.
they have different meanings and everything about them. So just listening to it, it was going on a road. It was taking you on a journey. You may not understand the phases that you are actually going through while you're actually in those phases, but once you put together and you grow, like I symbolize in the resemblance, I symbolize myself as the tree,
Yeah.
going through different phases and different seasons. So I didn't understand exactly each phase I was going through. Only thing, my initial goal was to, Q, I hope that this project could be a motivation, not only to myself, but to other people. And the outcome, man, was just wonderful to me, man.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful.
I think that's a really important message to other artistic people too, is that you go through these seasons in life where there's ups and downs, there's very fruitful periods and there's very dry periods. But if you kind of show up every day and say, like, I'm just going to do my best and try and put something out into the world, then something's going to happen. Your labor is going to be like not in waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You said you were in Creative Kings. Was that kind of your introduction to hip hop, or were you doing stuff even before then?
I'm not going to say I grew up, but in
Sure.
5th through 8th grade, I skipped all of the extracurriculum, the elective classes you had in middle school and
Yeah.
things like that. So I had the option of going to act throughout the whole school year to play in the band, and I played trumpet
Cool.
5th through the 8th grade. So that was actually my introduction into music.
Cool.
But with the Creative Kings, we was more like a electro hop group. So
Okay.
that's actually where the energy derived from.
Yeah.
It was a lot of energetic music that we were pumping out back in the day. So that was definitely my introduction to hip hop, just getting into it and understanding the process that it took to actually create, to actually step in my own enlightenment to say that I am an artist.
Yeah. I totally get that. And I think starting at such an early age too, it kind of just programs you to turn on that creative switch and to take that into any solo project, group project, whatever it is. You grew up in East Nashville, right?
Mm-hmm. I grew up in East Nashville.
So you've kind of seen the whole spectrum of change that is East Nashville, I'm sure.
Yeah, the entire process, man. The entire process.
Go ahead.
I would say it's honestly crazy to see the transition of what Nashville has become. And honestly, I can say that, back then, just to see the population here grow, and it's a lot of creatives that's moving here. I love the transition.
Yeah.
Even with the hip hop scene, I see it actually growing, and I never would have thought that Nashville would get to this point, because back in the day, even how downtown looks, like the skyline has changed tremendously.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's changed tremendously.
It's crazy to see the difference in the landscape from when I first moved to Nashville in, I think, 2011, where there were a few hip hop artists. There was like Chancellor Warhol, Mike Floss. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but it was very much a very tight knit scene,
Mm-hmm.
and very just like independent. And it always struck me as like, oh, that's like the punk rock scene in Nashville. Like those guys are so DIY and
Oh yeah.
scrappy. I'm curious, just like your perspective on the current state of hip hop in Nashville.
Hip hop in Nashville. Definitely. I think, back then to now, it's a ton of new artists that I see in general just stepping out on the scene, and I see the population growing because, like you said, it was more back in the day. It was like do it yourself. You had
Hmm.
to do everything yourself. You had to promote. You had to record yourself. It wasn't a lot of opportunities out here for hip hop artists. And I think that's a perk that's coming with the new wave of
Yeah,
Nashville, the new Nashville. So yeah, it was just a rough time. Like it wasn't a lot of support
yeah,
or culture here actually for the hip hop scene. But now I think since the new wave and the implants that's coming here and everything,
yeah,
I think that it's putting a spotlight on the hip hop artists. It's fairly new. It's fairly new. The hip hop scene is fairly new. It's been out for a long time, but it's fairly new to the scene,
totally.
to the Nashville scene. And I think that, the way that Nashville is growing each and every day and the community is coming together. I love the impact that the hip hop community is coming together actually now and understanding, hey, you know, we have to take advantage of this and we have to grow as a community rather than trying to do everything ourselves, because it
Totally.
was hard back in the day working with other artists because
Mhm.
everybody was, you had your cadre that you hung with.
Mhm.
Um, it wasn't a ton of events that you could find hip hop artists or performing. So it was hard to get in contact with anybody back in the day around, I would say 20, I would say 2015.
Yeah.
2015, around that era. It was definitely hard and hard to get in touch with hip hop artists or even find them. So I think that see how the hip hop scene is thriving now, and you can actually, you could just simply get on Instagram and find a ton of hip hop artists that are out and
Yeah.
getting a ton of exposure and just shedding some light back on the hip hop scene and growing as a community
It's
more so.
cool.
So that's what I love.
Yeah, it's cool just to see like the nature of collaboration in Nashville change. Um, when I was coming up in Nashville, it was like everyone had their clique. You had your like East Nashville, like garage rock
Oh yeah.
scene. You had your like coffee shop dudes with slick haircuts making like 1975 indie music. Um, and then there was no kind of like collaboration, or there was no conversation going on between any of those cliques. And now it's cool to see like you dropping songs with different artists that are like very genre breaking.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to talk about that. Like I know you put out a few singles with Sam. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Is it Tinez?
Tines, yeah.
Okay,
You
cool.
you was close. You was
Cool. Cool. I try. Um, but yeah, just talking about like the nature of like kind of collaborating with other Nashville artists that aren't necessarily hip hop artists, but still like making a piece of music that's good.
Exactly. Yeah, even, I was always an artist. I love to experiment as an artist. So I know that I have the hip hop is my
You
passion,
got it
but
down.
just
Yeah.
to yeah, man, and my overall goal was to amalgamate the scenes.
Cool.
So when that came about and the opportunity came about to work with Sam and a guy by the name of Saint Pressure
Yeah.
and all of them, it really started like rolling. It was a domino effect. I used to spend like each and every day, maybe like 3 years ago, for 3 years, me and my friend Sean, we used to spend every day going on Broadway putting headphones on people.
Yo,
And
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's how I was building my following, and it was just turned out one day Saint Pressure was walking down the street and he was like, "Yo, what are you guys doing?" And
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, bro, we're just filming promoting my music." I was in Creative Kings at the time,
cool.
and we was just we were just promoting music. So we linked up and we started cooking up music and everything, and then that's actually I made a song with Saint Pressure, Honey Drip, and then
Yeah,
Sam actually reached out to me
cool.
from my verse on that, and then ever since then it's just been like a domino effect, and just collabing with other people in different genres is definitely opening my horizon, and giving me a different perspective on music and able to open up my sound
Yeah.
in the hip hop realm, man. So I love the collaboration, man. I would love to keep amalgamating different genres to the hip hop scene to even, to even build the community outside of hip hop
No
just to
doubt.
see that transition actually happening.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like I am in, I guess, the electronic like producer kind of world, and it's
Mhm.
cool to see, you know, a producer like Sophie or Flume work with Vince Staples, or
Oh yeah.
like to hear a Tyler the Creator track that has like a definite house beat or something to it. It's like everything kind of fits into this musical world. It's just you're experimenting with like different pieces from different genres, and those ingredients work really well together. Why wouldn't you put them together?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I'm curious to get your take on just like the future of Nashville hip hop. Like what's kind of the next step to get it to a place that's more nationally recognized, like in Atlanta or even like a Memphis hip hop scene from, like the 3 6 days.
Yeah, I think honestly it's more so just about um building a buzz, and
Mhm.
then also like I said, just cross promotion on
Yeah,
different genres and everything, because whereas if obviously everybody knows Nashville is country dominant,
for sure.
but um in the fact, I think to get it to that level of like Atlanta hip hop, I think that it's going to take a collective of genres coming together, and just collabing on a ton of records, and then building up the exposure for actual hip hop. And I'm a big fan of word of mouth, and spreading and reposting hip hop artists throughout social media and everything. I
Yeah.
think that that's something that should be at the forefront, because whereas if we can find, I know a ton of pop artists, I know a
Yeah.
ton of just different people in other genres, and and I think it's getting the hip hop artists comfortable with collabing, because like I said, you coming from before the new Nashville was actually created back in the day. Everybody was just so used to doing everything on themselves. So even when I started collabing with people, I was terrified, bro, because
Yeah.
I'm so used to being in my own comfort zone, and in my own aura, and I back in the day, just promoting and just doing everything on my own. It was uncomfortable for me
Yeah.
to actually start and connecting with other people in general, and I knew that right there, that that came that derived from just how the hip hop scene always strive. It's like,
Totally.
it's either do or die. You promote it yourself,
Mhm.
or no one's going to support it. So I think what we have to do as a community, most importantly here in Nashville, if we really want hip hop to be, what I'm saying, hip hop to be seen as country or somewhere in the scene, like how Atlanta or LA or New York is
Yeah.
thriving, I think that it's going to take a whole, not even just the hip hop artists, but people in other genres here to actually, just share simple posts or talk about hip hop artists in the community,
Yeah.
because we definitely need the support.
Yeah.
We definitely need the support for sure.
Totally. So we're recording this on August 6th. I'm out in LA and everything
Okay.
is still like super shut down here. I know things have like started to kind of open up in Nashville slowly. Um, how has quarantining and COVID affected just your creative habits and the way you make music?
Um, I definitely say this whole shutdown of the world has definitely took me to another place. Deep self reflection, just understanding. Wow, the entire world can get shut down, and it's up to us as individuals to understand that if the world shut down and people are losing jobs,
Yeah.
people are struggling out here. I think that mentally for me, this has actually helped me understand a lot more about myself, and then just you know um getting up with friends, and it's gave me a ton of more time to sit down and actually um be more critical in my music and actually understand it, because I was always in a place where um just just going out, I may sit down. It's just giving me a lot of time to think and
Yeah.
concentrate on really what matters, self-care, um understanding that now is the time to like build people up,
Yeah.
build people up, help people strive, help people find their passion, man. And even in my stories, I'm understanding I have a lot of people that hit me up, and like every time I post something positive, um people hit me up. One of the motivational videos that I do, people actually hit me up, and I know it's working. So I think that for me, it taught me to definitely let's continue to as a individual here, as a spirit, let's continue to motivate people
Yeah.
and motivate them not only to work on their craft or work on whatever they want to do in life, but also like it takes confidence to follow your dreams.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes confidence following your dreams. So this was a confident builder for me. This overall quarantine, just to give me time to really self-reflect, think, and concentrate.
Totally agree with that. I think in my personal experience, it's created a lot of space in my life where there wasn't before, and given me some room to kind of self-reflect and ask some tough questions of like, okay, what's really important in my life? Like
Exactly.
what do I need to spend less time on in order to like focus in on being a happier person, a more creative person? And that self-reflection can kind of suck sometimes because it's very intimidating to like pose big questions to yourself, but it's so important, especially as a creative person, to like take those leaps and dig deeper in order to really analyze like what are you about as an artist, like what's important to you.
Exactly.
I think listening to your music too, there's like a lot of really big themes that I pull, like on Pillow Lover. I was like trying to listen into the lyrics and just getting a sense of like you got to cut through the bullshit, like you've got to be really honest about who you are with yourself in order to project that out. And just like you said, like having that confidence as an artist, being a musician, it can kind of suck sometimes. And
It-
if you don't have that like just solid sense of stability and security in
mhm.
yourself, you're not going to get it from anywhere else.
Yep. And like you said, it's you have to ask yourself those deep questions,
Yeah.
you know, and even before the quarantine, even before all of this actually happened, I understand now that that is definitely something that taught me a lot. Like I used to scratch the surface a lot. I have to be honest, but now giving myself all of this time that I never had, it's actually letting me soak into how I feel and how I want to express myself, and building the foundation and having a foundation that I can stand strong on.
Yeah. What's some advice that you would give someone that's kind of starting their journey into music in general? I know, like, it feels to me as someone that's kind of outside of the hip hop world, like going into the hip hop world is a very specific thing, and
Hmm.
takes like a really like massive amount of confidence. What advice would you give to someone that's just starting down that road?
Honestly, th- real simple. Never stop and never doubt yourself. And if you have a vision in your mind that you really that you see, the first and foremost, I can't um I can't create an opinion about anything that um that that isn't in manifestation yet. So what I would say to anyone in general that's starting, don't stop. No matter what you do. You know, if you let your pen stop, your dream stop.
Yeah.
So I would say just continue to hold on. You know, you're going to go through up and downs. That's just a part of life. But first and foremost, just honestly dig deep within yourself, and anything that you start, make sure that you really love to do it,
Hell yeah.
because just breaking through the barriers of, just breaking through the barriers is me for an artist. I wasn't as good, and I wasn't as confident as I was
Yeah.
as I am today. But what I can say through my journey and what it has taught me is I never stopped. No matter what I went through, no matter what people may thought about my music, what people said about it behind my back or anything. One thing that I always tell myself is I wouldn't stop. And even if you keep a solid friend, like keep solid friends in your circle
Yeah.
that are motivating you. Make sure that everybody that you're hanging around is emulating exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. No doubt. Dude, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Man, thank you for having me. All along, I thought you lived in Nashville.
Yeah, I did. We moved, my wife and I moved here in March. And
Okay.
so I think the last time I saw you was probably at Tanner and Precious house for some party. And that was earlier this year or late last year. So it would have been right after.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, if you're ever out in LA, hit me up.
Oh, for sure. Honestly, I'm going to be out there next month. So,
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
hey, let's get up, man.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for having me, man. I
course,
love
dude.
what you're doing.
Man, thanks for sharing the positivity. Everyone go check out Tree of Shades on Spotify, Apple Music, and just stay tuned for everything Q.